Hey everyone, welcome to Inside the AI. I'm your host, Doc, and today I'm going to be showing you how to take this list that I've scraped from the internet of different companies. I'm going to turn this list into a contact lead generator. So I'm going to use n8n to search the internet and download the company's emails, the LinkedIn, and all of this information with the click of a button. So if this is something you're interested in and you need to generate leads, download this JSON. It's $9, or you can follow this step-by-step guide to build it out. Now, let me show you what this actually does. If I step here and I click save, just to make sure it's updated, and I want to test the workflow, it's going to read my sheet. And it's going to read the sheet to make sure that this has been collected. If it has not been collected, it's going to be passed through. It's going to access Apollo, where it's going to apply filters to identify the right person in the company. It's going to identify people in marketing, and then it's going to identify the company, and it's going to create this URL. Once that URL is created, it's going to pass through a wait node. This wait node is going to obviously wait 5 minutes. And this is to prevent rate limits from happening, because what's going to happen is it's going to pass through Apify. And in Apify, it's going to download all of that information. Once we have that information downloaded, it's going to hit our Google Sheet, and it's going to update all of this information line by line. The first and last name of the people, their email address, their URL, what is their department. And from this, we can analyze the company's demographics and create a very strategic lead acquisition plan to target these people so that we can convert them into customers. And once this one is complete, it will hit the wait node and it'll start all over, and it'll go back to our Google Sheet, where in that Google Sheet, it's going to go to the next row and start to identify that information. Now we do have a if node here, and if it doesn't have a return, it will log that so that we can go back and identify the issue with that company. And then it'll wait 5 minutes and it'll start all over and do this process again. Now, these wait nodes are very critical because of the API limitations. So if you're going too fast, Apollo and Apify and even your Google Sheets will drop you off the network, and it won't work for you. So we have these in, and I've tested them out to make sure they work. All right, so that wait node has completed, and the information has been sent to the Apify. That Apify has pulled that information, and now if I go back to my conference generator, I can see that we have a new set of people down here. We've only pulled in a couple more people, but the reason we're only pulling in these people is because we're very targeted. We only want to target the marketing people in the company, and we don't want to just overwhelm the system. So with that complete, it's going to run a wait node, and it's going to hit the next node and continue to go. So if you find value in this video, please like and subscribe. I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step process of how to link everything, where everything needs to go, and what you need to do to the Google Sheets to make this work for you. And if you just want these leads, I can send you the leads too. So please like and subscribe. And also in the comments, if there's something you're working on and you're struggling with, message me and I'll solve that problem for you. And I'll post a video to solve that problem, and maybe other people are having that issue too. And stay tuned for the step-by-step process. All right, so now we're back with the step-by-step guide. And what I want to show you first is what you need to do to start an n8n workflow. So when you enter the environment, you're going to go here and you want to change the name. This name is going to be called Lead Gen Video. You can name it whatever you want, but that's just what I'm going to name it here. Every n8n needs a trigger. So any workflow needs a trigger. So you click this plus in the middle, and then we're going to decide on the trigger. Now, you could do on a form submission. You can do many different ways, but since we're just going to work this out and we need it to run one time over and over again, we're going to hit a manual trigger. So this will run runtime. And once this runs one time, unless there's an error, it will run through each of the companies line by line. And as you can see, we have a couple hundred or even 1,000. I think there's 4,000 in here. So I've scraped this from a conference. So if you're going to a conference and you want to target those people in the conference, we can scrape those people that we know are going to be there, and then we can target them. So no, there was 2,036. And so now with this extracted, we have some information And from this, we're going to use AI, and we're going to use the power of n8n to pull in more information. So with that said, if you are working in this sheet, what you need to do is modify the company name. The booth doesn't really matter. This is helpful. I would keep something here. Maybe if you were going to change this, what I would change this to is an ID number, because what I use this for later in the workflow is each one of these are a unique identifier that identifies the company. So in n8n, when you get to the end of the workflow, to update it to say yes, what I do is I call on the booth so that it can have a unique identifier, and I know it's not going to be something that is repetitive in the sheet. If they're double, you have the opportunity to update 2 of these as a yes and miss one of your potential leads. So in summary, what I want to tell you is for the booth, you may want to change this to a unique identifier for your company. And all you need is the company. All right. So now update your list of the company. And when you go into n8n, the next thing we need to do is a Google Sheets. So type Google Sheets. And then this is going to be a get rows. And what this is doing is it's going to get information from our n8n environment. Now, there's many videos out there of how to connect your Google Sheets. So I don't want to waste time to do this. But if you do need help, comment in the description below, and I would walk you through how to do this. The next thing we want to do is identify the sheet. So what this is doing is it's grabbing the information from our Google Sheets, and we're going to identify the name of the sheet. So the title. So our title is right here, NACS names. So now we have the names here. And then the next thing is, what sheet is it? So inside of this document, you can have multiple sheets at the bottom. We're going to use sheet 1 since that's all we have. So then sheet 1 is this. And now if I ran this, what would happen is we would get lots and lots of rows of information. So now we have 11 here, and we can keep going. The problem is we only want one to pass through. So now that I'm here, we have a lot of information, but we only can process one at a time because we're trying to target that company. So what we want to do is we want to add a filter. So what this is going to do is it's going to read the collected column. So right here, it's going to read yes, 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 all the way down. And then we need to add an option. The option we're going to add is return only the first matching row. And then we need to click this on. And now when we run this, what will happen is it's going to read through that column, and it's going to return the first company that has an empty column of collected. So if it's collected is empty, it will return that first one. So we're on number 12. So if I go back here, now I'm on number 12, and that's this one right here. Now, the next thing I need to do with this completed, I can go on to the next thing, which is an edit nodes. So here's the edit. We're going to open this up, and we're going to work on this one. So the first thing I want to do is I want to add a field, and then I'm going to drag through the company name. So what we're doing here is we're going to isolate just the company and get rid of the rest of information that we don't need. So once I drag through company, I'm going to drag through company one more time on the other side so it matches. And then this is going to be an expression because this is going to change for everyone that comes through. So what's happening here is this is going to read the column that says company. And then this is going to give you the information here that can change every time. So company never changes, but each company that's inside of that column can change. And so that will change to match that. The last thing I want to pass through is a URL. This URL is to Apollo. And I will walk you through what I mean. But basically what this URL is it's the beginning part of the URL that never changes. So I want to walk you through what that means, right? So we have a URL, and when I go into Apollo, here is the screen. If you look here, we have the URL across the top. Now, what I've been doing is I've been experimenting with this, and if I go to company and I click the exit, we see that the URL changes. If I go back and add the company, it's going to add some more information right here. So it basically adds the filter to the end. The same goes for marketing. If I take out marketing, it's going to take out this part right here. And then so on and so forth. So if I know, and the precursor to this, what I did was I knew that I wanted to target verified emails. So we see that in the URL right here. And I wanted to target marketing people. And we see that in the URL right here. So the next thing I did was I wanted to identify the company. So the next thing I did was I wanted to identify the company that I was going to target. So then I took the filter and I opened this up. And then I went back to my sheet. But let's just go with the first one just because. Now, to show you what this is going to do is after marketing, it added and. So it's adding an and sign and the organization ID, which is the organization we're targeting. And this never changes. So this part of the URL never changes. So the %5B, %5D never changes and it equals. So what I am doing is I'm taking this out and I'm deleting this. And then I'm copying this. So this is the URL that will go inside of this right here. All right. And so now I'm going to explain what's going to happen is the next node is going to run a filter, which gets you this part, the equals part of the company. So we identified the company ID that is unique to Apollo, and it fills this part in for you. So it's a dynamic URL. So let's show you what I mean. So now this is completed. We can run this, and now we'll have some information on the back end. So now to keep this moving, I want to click the plus sign. I need to do an HTTP node. And this HTTP is going to call out to the internet. This needs to be a post node. And then this is the URL. So here's the URL. The next thing that I did is I need to send in my credentials. So I need to send a header. And then it's going to keep using fields below. So I'm going to copy and paste this in. So it's going to be cache-control for the top part. And then for the bottom part is going to be no cache. We're going to add another parameter. This is going to be content and type. And then this is going to be application/JSON. The last one is going to be our API key. So then you copy and paste this here. And then you copy and paste your API key for Apollo in. So to get this API key, what you want to do is going to be linked in the description below, but you want to go to Apollo. You go to your setting. In your settings, you have your integration, which is right here in the middle. And then you want to scroll all the way down to the bottom where it has API. You want to connect this. And instead, it's going to give you this option, but you want to look to the left and you have your API key. So here's your API key. You can create a new one and then you can start working off it. And once you do that, you can copy that and paste it back into here. And this node will be almost done until we send the body. So now we have authenticated ourselves to Apollo, but we need to ask it for some information. And so this is the unique part, which is pretty cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start applying those filters. So I want to add a body. So send a body, and then we're going to change this from JSON to a specified using JSON. Now this is going to let us type in the JSON that we're going to run. And this is what we want to write. Basically what this is doing is it's hitting Apollo and it's adding the filters that I just told you, verify the email, marketing, and then the organization name, which was provided from the previous node. So now I can hit test and I can see this goes and calls Apollo and it gathers the information. So now with this complete, we can see this gathers some information. And as we go to the right, we'll see here that it gathers the model ID, which is the most important part. This right here correlates to the ending of the URL where it says organizations equal this number right here. So this is how they title your organizations. And if we see here, this is a name of the organization. And if I go back to Apollo, after the equal sign, it's the same number, 64017A48D84. So everything in front of it stays the same. And what's changing is the N. So we are creating a system where it will automatically dynamically change that. So now the next node, what's going to happen is we're going to send it through a wait node. So the next node, what's going to happen is we're going to send it through an if node. And this if node is very important because Apollo is very challenging. You have to have the exact right name so that it produces the right company. It can't be a dash between, it can't have an extra space. It has to be the exact name. And so if this is wrong, what we are going to do is we're going to say, if the information does not, if the information is not provided, move on to the next one. So I'm going to have the model name here, and then I'm going to paste in an expression that says move on to the next one. So this says, if this is empty, if this is equal to this, then move on to the next one. With this complete, what I'm going to do is so basically what this is saying is if this has a number inside, put it in one area. If it doesn't, go to the other area. And I'll show you what I mean. So this is saying model ID has a number. It's going to be filtered in this direction. If it didn't, it would fall off the network. And then what we would do is we would send it back around. So let's go through the, if it didn't work, and then I'll show you what that's doing. So we need to add a Google Sheet. And what this is going to do is it's going to update the information to say, update in a pen. And it's going to say, if you are not provided information, I want you to update this column and this specific row so that we can understand that we need to go back and take a look at these. So the first thing I need to do is I need to select the NACS, and then I need to go to sheet 1. This is going to ask you to match. So I want to match from the booth. Remember, this is that unique number that always changes, that never changes. We're going to take this information, put it here. So this is going to be an expression. So when that booth comes in, the information will be there. And then we want to put name error. And then this will update in the column. And instead of saying yes, it's going to say name error, and it'll go down to the next one. So now with this complete, I'm going to put it down here so it's out of the way. And then I'm going to add a wait node. And this wait node, again, is going to make sure you do not hit your API limits. So instead of it being 5 seconds, we're going to wait 5 minutes. And now this is complete. And what I want to do is I want to take this and loop it back around to my Google Sheets. So now this is going to go through. It's going to hit our Google Sheets, update that row, and then it'll start over and pull the next one underneath it. Now we only have a couple more nodes and then this will be completed. So now what this is going to do is we're going to add this to another wait node. And this is going to make sure that between Apify and Apollo, we do not hit our wait limits. We do not hit our API limits and put ourselves off the network. So what we're going to add to this is another 5-minute wait. And then this part is completed. We have 3 more nodes to go. We have 3 more nodes to go, and then we'll be completed with this. So now the next thing we need to do is go to an HTTP node. And what this is going to do is it's going to call Apify. And if you don't know what Apify is, it's a scraping tool that links in with Apollo and scrapes those information for you. So now what I'm going to add in here is my Apify ID, and I'm going to show you where to get this from, okay? So this URL, it comes from the Apify network, right? So we're going to go to Apify. It's going to be linked in the description below. This is going to be called Apollo Scraper, scrape up to 50 leads. It's very common. Many people have made videos about this, but it's very cheap, and this is why I kind of use it. So you pay for this as you go. you pay $1.20 for every 1,000 leads, which is very good. And then what's actually interesting is every month you get $5. So essentially, you can get up to 4,000 leads for free. What I want to show you first is how to get that URL. All right. So when I go to this site, I want to go to integration. Inside of integration, I want to go all the way to the bottom and do use API endpoint. From this, I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to run an actor synchronously. I'm going to run an actor synchronously and get dataset items. Now you have to be careful what you're doing with this, because this does have your API token inside of it. So if you copy this, you want to paste this inside the URL. So I took my API key out. So this is what you would have plus your API key at the end. Now with this complete, I'm going to show you some more things we need to do. We need to authenticate. So I'm going to send the key again. So what you can do is when you come here, you can copy this, paste it right here, and then copy anything that's after the equal sign and paste it here in the value. Now, with this complete, we have an authentication method. That means we can connect to the Apify network. The next thing we need to do is add the body. So now we've connected and we need to tell them this is what we need. That's what the body is. We're sending the body of information to them. So we're going to use a JSON, and then I'm going to copy and paste this over and show you what we're going to do. So now what this is doing is this is going to get personal emails. It's going to get 10. So some of the limitations, if you're on the free Apollo account, you get up to $5. And in this situation, you could do 500 leads. So if I change this to 500, this will actually work. You could pull 500 leads. However, one of the limitations within Apollo in their free account is no matter what, if you're on the free account, the most you can pull is 100 leads. So keep that into consideration when you're working. So this may be an opportunity to move up to the paid account. But since I'm very targeted, I only want 10 of those people. So now this is passing through that information we just created in the other account. So now we have this part of the URL that is the same and it doesn't change. And then I'm going to come into here and I'm going to run this one time. So I'm going to run this wait node. And then once this goes through, we'll have the information to move on to the next part. So now with this completed, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to scroll over. And now I have that customer information right here. I'm going to open this up and I want to slide that information in. So model ID is going to go right after the marketing. And now this has updated the URL for that specific company that we just talked through. Now, if I run this, it will run and it will gather that information. So now what we're going to do is we're going to keep building this out. So now I'm going to hit the Google Sheet. And this is going to be the update of the information we've just gathered. So now I'm going to copy this. And what this is going to access is the conference one, which is I just named it, which is the conference one, which you could name it anything you want, which could be the conference you're actually going to. You want to map it manually. And then what you want to do is map it by email because no two people have the same email. And then I'm going to show you what to paste in there. So here's what you want to paste in each one of these. It's really easy. You're just going to pull it in from the left side and it's going to be each part of the organization. The bottom two are going to be blank, which is emailed, which we haven't emailed. And then if they've replied or not. With this node complete, we can move to the next one. The next node we are going to set up is the verification that we have contacted them. So now I'm going to add one more Google Sheet. And this one is going to be relatively easy. We're going to update and append. And this is going to go to the NAC. So this is your conference one, not the generated contacts. This is the contacts of the conference. So from this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to match it from the booth. And I need to put the booth number here. So here's what I'm going to get. I'm going to get it from the Google Sheet. And so now I have the booth number here, and that's passed through the Google Sheet. And then I just need to put at the contacted, you can put whatever you want. I'm going to put like, yes, it was connected or collected. And then this node is completed. Once this is complete, we can add a wait node. And this wait node is going to be however long you want, but I find 5 minutes to be relatively easy and it works. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to run it back to the Google spreadsheet, lower it so it looks pretty. And now we have our worksheet complete. Once that completes, it'll go to the next one. We see this turning yellow because of those API limits, and it's running through pretty quick. So you can modify that time to make it work for you. We want to click save, and then this is completed. Our workflow is complete, and it will work 100%. So if you need a lead generation system, this is a method. There's many methods out there. I'm going to continue to build this out. My next video is going to be on actually sending out targeted emails to these people to generate leads for us. So if you find value in this video, please like and subscribe. Join my communities. They're going to be linked in the description below. I did have a school community, but I'm changing that to a Slack community so you can download these JSONs. I do charge $9 for the JSON so you can walk through step by step and follow these for free. Thanks. I'm the Data Doc. I appreciate your time. Bye-bye.